It's January, and that means Samsung just announced a lot of new Android phones. The Galaxy S24, the S24 Plus, and the S24 Ultra. I'm Joe Maring with Digital Trends, and we gotta take a first look at them. We'll start with some small spec changes with the regular S24 and the S24 Plus. The Galaxy S24 has a slightly bigger screen, going up to 6.2 inches compared to 6.1 inches on the S23 last year. The Galaxy S24 Plus also goes to 6.7 inches compared to the 6.6-inch screen you got on the S23 Plus in 2023. The S24 Plus also gets a nice resolution bump, going to a Quad HD resolution as opposed to Full HD last year. Samsung's also increasing the battery sizes for both phones. The Galaxy S24 now has a 4,000 mAh battery, while the Galaxy S24 Plus has a 4,900 mAh battery. That's an increase of 100 mAh and 200 mAh respectively, which means you should get better battery life than you did in last year's phones. No matter which phone you get, you're also getting some shared specs across the entire S24 series. All three phones get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, you get 2600 nits of peak screen brightness, and all three S24 phones have 120Hz refresh rates. And similar to the Google Pixel 8 series from October, all three Galaxy S24 phones are getting 7 years of security patches and Android OS upgrades. One of the biggest design changes you're going to see this year is with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Similar to what Apple did with the iPhone 15 Pro series, the S24 Ultra now has a titanium frame. Now it feels good in person, but since the S23 Ultra already had aluminum, you're not going to feel as big of a weight difference like it was going from stainless steel on the 14 Pro to titanium on the 15 Pro. It feels good, but don't expect anything too crazy there. Now, as far as camera specs go, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is kind of interesting. A lot of them are pretty similar. You get the same 200 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and the 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom telephoto camera. However, the 10 megapixel 10x optical zoom telephoto camera from the S23 Ultra, that's been replaced by 50 megapixel 5x optical zoom camera. There's an increase in resolution, but that is half the optical zoom range, but Samsung says you should see similar, if not better, telephoto results that you got last year. That's obviously something we'll need to test for ourselves to see what it looks like, but it's something to keep an eye out for. Now, we could talk specifications all day, but the big draw to all three Galaxy S24 phones is Galaxy AI. Now, this is Samsung's branding for a load of AI features it's throwing into the S24 series, and you're going to find that in the phone app, photo editor, and a lot more. Now, I'm not going to run through every single one because we really don't have time for that, but these are a few of the highlights that really stood out to me the most. One of my personal favorite features is called Circle to Search, and it works just like you'd expect. When you're using the Galaxy S24, you press and hold the home button, and then you circle on your phone with your finger whatever you want to look up. Now, in some of the examples we've tried, we circled famous landmarks in Italy and France, and Circle to Search gave us a full Google search result of exactly what we were looking at. And the really cool part is that for certain things you circle, you'll get recommended follow-up questions about whatever you found. You also get a lot of AI tools with how you edit photos. One of the main things are automatic edit suggestions. Depending on the type of photo you took when you're looking at it in the Gallery app, the Galaxy S24 will recommend things like removing shadows, reflections, and more. And the cool part is the more you use these features, the better those recommendations get to hopefully tailor those edits to the type of photos you like to take. When we got to see these edits for ourselves, they actually worked pretty well. These recommended edits happen locally on device, meaning you don't need an internet connection. They happen pretty quickly, and the results honestly look really good. The other AI-assisted photo editing experience you're going to find is called Generative Edit. Now, this is basically the magic editor you get on the Pixel 8 series, where you can instantly remove objects, move the subject of your photo, and a lot more. Now, this experience does require an internet connection as it's using the cloud to help those edits happen, but once again, the results we saw looked really promising. The other big experience where Galaxy AI comes into play is with translation features. Live Translate's probably the coolest one, and it's essentially having live translation 2 ways on a live phone call. In the demo I tried, I pretended to call a Korean restaurant where the person on the other end of the call was speaking Korean while I was speaking English. When you press the Live Translate button after entering a phone call, the experience is pretty cool. The person speaking in their language, it comes across on the phone in your language, translated in real time, and the same way works for you vice versa. Now, there is a bit of a pause and a 4-beat you have to wait for the whole thing to work, but if you're not in a hurry and you speak clearly, it's pretty impressive once again just how well these features work. In a similar vein, there's also an interpreter app that helps you do two-way translation if you're talking to someone in a different language in person. The interpreter mode works kind of how you'd expect. You say something, press a button, and the Galaxy S24 reads it out loud in the other person's language. They do the same for you, and just like Live Translate for the phone calls, the results worked quite well. There were a couple of instances where some words got jumbled, but again, this was an early preview, and something like this can only get better as time goes on. Now, the Live Translate features for phone calls, that is obviously going to require a cellular and a data connection, but the interpreter mode is happening all on device, meaning you don't need Wi-Fi, cellular data, or anything like that. Now let's talk price. The Samsung Galaxy S24 is going to retail for $800, while the Galaxy S24 Plus is $1,000. If you remember the S23 and the S23 Plus, those prices are exactly the same as last year. Now with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, that is going to now start for $1,300, which is a $100 price increase compared to the S23 Ultra. This isn't all that surprising considering Apple just did something similar last year with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but another $100 for a phone that was already very expensive, it's not going to be the thing you want to see here. We expect pre-orders for the Galaxy S24 series to start very soon, and the minute we get our hands on them, you can expect reviews and a lot more hands-on coverage. Until then, I've been Joe Mari with Digital Trends, and I'll see you in the next one.